Oh, fuck. On the megaphone. I'm doing a bit of camera testing. Get them angles here. That's a little better. Maybe we'll change that background here too as well. Preferably not hentai. Come on, man. I just wanted the hen. There we go. Got him! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mega Show, the worst show on the internet. As you can basically tell, we're going back to the same format that we did in the last 2 episodes. Now, I gotta be blunt for maybe a few minutes and to be honest that I don't think I deserve this kind of fame where it comes to action figure reviews. That was essentially just an experiment to see who had even clicked on the video for whatever reasons. Turns out people were just mad about me talking shit about Bandai of America. And then there was another 35 people who liked the video and said, well, oh wow, shit. This guy's talking some sense. He's talking common sense. And you know, I pressed forward because I liked doing that kind of thing. But honestly, throughout the last, I don't know, 20 years or so, as far as being alive is concerned, action figures have indefinitely ruined my life. The Mega Black, if they ruined your life, why are you still doing figure reviews? That's the whole point of what the review's about. I'm trying to stop you guys from making the shittiest investments on earth. Worse investments than buying 10 houses and getting like $1,000 out of negative gearing out of it. Worse than actually going to the pokies. I'd rather spend $1,000 at the pokies than buy new action figures. You can basically see I can't even afford a house anyway because I spent all my life savings on action figures. And you have like your boomer parents who bought like 10 properties in the last 10 years so they could get an extra $1,000 in negative gearing. You can definitely see why I never moved out of the house in a long time. Now son, I just want you to stop buying those avocados on toast so you could actually buy a fucking house. Dad, what about that 10th house you bought in the last month? What's that? You fucking saying to me, cunt? Fucking beat your ass down and break your legs down, cunt. All these action figures I've been buying in my lifetime cost almost over $1,000 a pop nowadays. All figures together. Probably $10,000 worth of wasted money. And most of them aren't even good. I'm sorry, when I have to tell you about how much money I spent on these action figures, I'm gonna have to give you the lecture about staying away from the worst investments. That shit bussin'. I came into the figure review scene for one purpose and one purpose only. To inform the customer. And the customer is the one important factor when it comes to action figure reviews because they are the guys that are constantly trying to buy the product and feed this shit down their throats so that whatever company that's constantly making these figures can continuously make improvements. You know, consumer reviews. They've been around since like the 20th century, so we all know why they exist. And then there's people that are constantly trying to back you down for the fact that you're trying to spark negativity about some specific item. I guess that it really shows that there really is no reason to continue on with these reviews unless you're willing to take the punch. I'm willing to take punches, bring it on, I'll fucking take you. Come down to the local park and shake me with a knife. You can stab me in the stomach just to prove that your opinion matters more than mine does. Which in actuality, it doesn't. Sometimes when I go to Crowd Casino and I have the figure of thought about how many action figures I got back in my house and how much I've been spending on the more Chili's pokies. Most of the time I don't even use the pokies because I have that inherited risk about not losing so much money and not getting anything back in return. Buying the action figures, you probably share those same principles because you probably don't know if those figures will be worthless in the long run. You got your Bandais, your Hasbros, your shit cunt Mattels, Seth MacFarlane toys. Them fuckers gonna play them collector games. They're gonna make your investments probably go down the toilet, just like the Australian housing market. I mean, quite literally, you go look into the community, specifically Marvel Legends collectors, and they are exactly the kind of guys you don't want to fuck with. They can make $100,000 from a Fin Fang Foom. Nobody knows who the fuck Fin Fang Foom is. The only people that know Fin Fang Foom are the only ones that are collecting Marvel Legends, and then they probably don't even know what the fuck a Fin Fang Foom was. But only 2% of the people in the community probably know what Fin Fang Foom is because he appears in the comics and has something to do with the Incredible Hulk. But you got your gold stars like the Sentinel, Galacticus, probably those are gonna go outdated at some point because Hasbro's playing that collector game. Time for those investments to go down the toilet. I think the rule of thumb is these things should not be treated as investments. You're not gonna make any money out of back all of this. I don't think there's nobody really wants to make money out of selling action figures. Unless you're operating as a legitimate business, go ahead. But if you're trying to make the same principles as the housing market, thinking you're gonna get like an extra $1,000 a month just because you own that figure, where you're constantly just looking at the eBay sellers every single time that an action figure sells, you're trying to make the averages out of that. Just hope that some useless cunt probably buys the thing off you for, I don't know, more than $1,000. Really pinched the hooch this time, buddy. I didn't exactly elaborate about the figure problem though. Aside from the consumer reviews that I did mention, it's probably very important that you know your figures exactly before that you're buying your figures. I have fallen into the trap of pre-orders and I'm not willing to go back to pre-orders again. And you know, pre-orders have pretty much become the epitome of just telling people to make bad investments. Getting a pre-order is essentially self-diagnosing yourself with cancer. Because at some point you're going to regret the fact that you pre-ordered a single item and then you realize that when you get it back, you're not going to like it. You gotta know your stuff first. You gotta know the background of the company. You gotta know exactly what kind of quirks and what kind of difficulties you're going to incur with. You're gonna have to check its track record and look at every single review that a specific company has come out with. I've fallen for this trap twice in the making. Oh boy, good old Medicom. Medicom Real Action Heroes, Medicom Mayfix, Medicom Bear Brick, Q-Brick, Hype Beast. You can basically stamp a Supreme sticker on a Bear Brick and that would sell for $10,000 at this point. Definitely the one thing they definitely skipped on is the Mayfix line. Yes, we all know the Mayfix line. The Mayfix Spider-Man. Best figure ever. Mayfix Venom. It's okay. Maybe the sizing is probably throwing a lot of people off, but it's an okay figure. Unfortunately, I can't swap the heads out of it. That is a big problem. Mayfix Wolverine. Oh, fucking hell. Thinking about that figure just gives me headaches, and I'll exactly tell you why. The arms fall off whenever you move it. It is a terrible figure from the get-go. Unless you're willing to do some modifications and probably affect its resale value, which nobody really gives a crap anymore because the figure itself is already terrible. And the smoking gun, Mayfix Cyclops. And you want to know how much these figures cost individually? At least about $150 each. Yeah, what do you expect? The Marvel licensing? Mayfix selling them for a high buck? Or essentially Medicom selling them for whatever the fuck they want to sell them for. So gullible people that like comics pretty much buy the stuff. I think those days are over because my collecting goals are essentially completed at this point. Oh sure, I'm sure that I can make very new collector goals, but I don't see that happening in the future. Because at this point, I'm just gonna collect whatever the fuck I want. I am not going to pre-order at least anything as far as that is concerned anymore. Because I'm just gonna collectively stop pre-ordering random shit at this point. Unless you know the company, unless you know the track record, it's okay. And then there's people like me pretty much reviewing Hasbro products, expecting them to be like, I don't know, $150 product. Like seriously, I only pay like $40 per figure. What the hell do you expect? Then I'm gonna amp up my game and then probably tell you that maybe $150 is not a very wise investment for an action figure. You could probably go on a date with someone and definitely pay that much money for a date. And I've also been hearing that the United States has the worst minimum wage laws as far as that is concerned, and if you apparently have a job in the US and all you've been paying for is action figures, please save your money. Like literally, your $20 is like $40 for me. I praise you for criticizing a $20 action figure. Because that pretty much pre-emphasizes my heart to say that, wow, you have the guts to tell me that I won't be paying $40 for this shit. Makes me feel good. At least to some extent. And then you got shit like exclusives like this fucking thing. Oh my god, I do hate this thing. Cost you an arm and a leg just to get this imported. Yeah boy, it's a custom hit alright. Trouble that you had to get through, how many times they've been producing these figures, and I don't think there's going to be a reissue anytime of this particular figure. And I thought this was going to be the best of both worlds, so I don't have to buy another Jason from, what's that store again that sells the comic book? But I don't want to make purchases like these anymore. We can't even get deals anymore at this point. Going on eBay is essentially this inherited risk that there's going to be people that are obviously trying to scam you because they know that you're going to get scammed. Can't even make deals anymore because so much of the global market has pretty much expanded all over the world. It's not even 2007 anymore, and I can't even go into a flea market to expect to get an SP license for about $10 or less. Well, realistically, I don't think they're actually like $10 at the time, but you probably would have found them at $10 in Yahoo Japan auctions back in 2007. Just saying. Let's talk about Exhibit V for a bit. The hot ticket item, well, technically my next review coming soon. This motherfucker right here is selling for $200 US. Well, thanks to Facebook groups, I actually got one myself, but to tell you the truth, these things sold like hotcakes since day one. Magnificent! Mwah! You gotta be kidding me. $200 US, 150 Australian dollars is the best we could get for this thing. And this was just by accidental fluke that I was able to find one at this price. For God's sakes, it was worth every dollar. But are we really going at lengths to actually pay for $150 for action figures? Telling you, we're sinking to a very new low at this point. Ah, fuck, my mustache hurts. I don't even have a mustache anymore because I shaved it off just before. And by that extension, you're just expecting to get these things at a bargain nowadays. Now you can't anymore. Action figure collecting has essentially become the most inaccessible hobby at this point. Most of the people that were drooling over action figures were probably 15 years old. And now they got jobs. And then they're expecting to pay about $150 for action figures because they're probably like 22 years old at this point. Oh man, don't get me started on exclusives, but that is another story. I'll trickle it down a little bit, but the exclusives that I mentioned earlier, this fucking cunt right here. Of course, they're being set to an arm and a leg, pre-orders sell out, and you know, people get mad. And half the time, I can't even get them anyway! Yeah, in short, action figures have pretty much put my life in a downward spiral. I think about pulling this trigger 3 times a day, every time I think about buying action figures.